Listen up, because what I'm about to tell you might just change everything. Everything you've ever wanted, everything you've ever dreamed of, everything that keeps you up at night thinking, what if? It's all sitting there, waiting for you. But here's the thing nobody wants to tell you. Most people will never get what they dream of. Not because they can't, not because they're not smart enough, not because they don't deserve it, but because they never learned the real formula. They never understood what it actually takes. See, there's a difference between wanting something and getting something. There's a difference between dreaming and achieving. There's a difference between hoping and having. And if you don't know that difference, you're going to spend your whole life wondering why other people seem to get everything they want, while you're still waiting for your turn. Your turn? Let me tell you something about your turn. Your turn doesn't exist. There is no line. There is no waiting list. There is no cosmic force deciding when you've suffered enough to deserve what you want. Success doesn't work like that. Dreams don't work like that. Life doesn't work like that. So how do you get everything you dream of? How do you bridge that gap between where you are and where you want to be? How do you turn those late-night thoughts into your daily reality? I'm going to give you the formula. The real formula. Not the watered-down, feel-good version they teach in those weekend seminars. The raw, uncut truth about what it takes to get everything you dream of. Are you ready for this? Because once I tell you, you can't unhear it. Once you know, you can't unknow it. And once you understand this formula, you're going to have to make a choice. You're going to have to decide whether you want to keep living in the comfort of your excuses or step into the discomfort of your dreams. Here it is, the formula for getting everything you dream of. It's got 3 parts, 3 simple parts that most people never master because they think simple means easy. Let me be clear, simple doesn't mean easy. Simple means it works, every single time, no exceptions. Part 1, dream with precision. Part 2, believe with violence. Part 3, act with obsession. That's it. That's the formula. Dream with precision, believe with violence, act with obsession. But don't you dare think that because I can say it in one sentence, it's going to be simple to do. Because each of these 3 parts will challenge everything you think you know about yourself. Dream with precision. Most people's dreams are fuzzy, they're vague, they're general. They say things like, I want to be successful, or I want to be happy, or I want to make more money. That's not dreaming, that's just wandering around in your own mind. When I say dream with precision, I mean you need to know exactly what you want down to the smallest detail. You need to know what it looks like, what it feels like, what it smells like, what it sounds like. You need to know the specific numbers, the specific dates, the specific outcomes, because here's what happens when you dream with precision. Your brain starts to see opportunities that were always there, but invisible to you before. See, your brain has this thing called the reticular activating system. It's like a filter that decides what information gets through to your conscious mind. Right now, it's filtering out millions of pieces of information because they're not relevant to what you're focused on. But when you dream with precision, when you get crystal clear on exactly what you want, that filter starts letting through different information. Suddenly you start noticing things you never noticed before, opportunities you never saw before, people who can help you that you never paid attention to before. It's like when you're thinking about buying a red car and suddenly you see red cars everywhere. They were always there, but now your brain is paying attention to them because they're relevant to what you want. The same thing happens with your dreams, but only if you dream with precision. So what does that look like practically? It means you don't just say, I want to be rich. You say, I want to have exactly $2 million in my bank account by December 31st, 2026. You don't just say, I want a better relationship. You say, I want to find someone who makes me laugh every single day, who shares my love for hiking, who supports my dreams even when they scare them, and I want to be married to this person by my 35th birthday. You don't just say, I want to be successful in business. You say, I want to build a company that generates $500,000 in revenue in its first year, employs at least 10 people who love coming to work, and makes a positive impact on at least 1,000 customers' lives. See the difference? One is a wish, the other is a blueprint. When you dream with precision, something magical starts to happen. Your dreams stop being this fluffy thing that exists only in your imagination and start becoming this concrete thing that your mind can actually work with.
Your subconscious mind is incredibly powerful, but it needs specific instructions. It needs to know exactly what target you're aiming for. Think about it this way. If I told you to hit a target, but I blindfolded you and spun you around and didn't tell you where the target was, what are your chances of hitting it? Pretty much zero, right? But if I tell you the target is 50 feet directly in front of you, it's red with white circles, and it's 3 feet off the ground, now you've got a chance. Now you can aim. Now you can adjust. Now you can hit it. That's what precision does for your dreams. It gives your mind something specific to aim for. But here's the thing, most people don't understand. Dreaming with precision isn't just about knowing what you want. It's about knowing why you want it. Because the why is what's going to carry you through when things get tough. And they will get tough. Your why needs to be bigger than your fears. It needs to be stronger than your excuses. It needs to be more powerful than your doubts. Because I guarantee you, the moment you start seriously pursuing your dreams, all of those things are going to show up. Fear is going to knock on your door. Excuses are going to whisper in your ear. Doubt is going to try to convince you that you're being unrealistic. And if your why isn't strong enough, you're going to give up. You're going to go back to your comfortable, predictable life and tell yourself that dreams are for other people. Don't let that happen. Find a why that makes you cry. Find a why that makes you angry. Find a why that makes you willing to do whatever it takes. Maybe your why is your kids. Maybe you want to show them what's possible when you refuse to accept limitations. Maybe your why is your parents who sacrificed everything for you, and you want to make their sacrifice mean something. Maybe your why is proving wrong everyone who said you'd never amount to anything. I don't care what your why is, but you better find one that moves you at your core, because dreaming with precision without a powerful why is like having a map without fuel. You know where you want to go, but you don't have what it takes to get there. Now let's talk about part 2 of the formula. Believe with violence. I chose that word carefully. Violence. Not believe casually. Not believe when you feel like it. Not believe when circumstances look good. Believe with violence. Believe like your life depends on it. Because it does. Most people's belief is weak. It's conditional. It's based on evidence. They say, I'll believe it when I see it. But that's backwards. You need to believe it before you see it. You need to believe it especially when you can't see it. You need to believe it most when everything around you suggests it's impossible.
Belief is not a feeling. Let me say that again. Belief is not a feeling. Feelings come and go. They're unreliable. They're based on circumstances, on your mood, on how much sleep you got last night. If your belief is based on feelings, you're in trouble. Because there are going to be days when you don't feel like your dreams are possible. There are going to be days when you feel like giving up. Belief is a decision. It's a choice you make regardless of how you feel. It's a commitment you make to yourself, that you're going to act as if your dreams are inevitable, even when everything around you suggests they're impossible. But here's the thing about belief that most people don't understand. Your brain is designed to prove you right. Whatever you believe, your brain will find evidence to support. If you believe you're unlucky, your brain will notice every time something bad happens and ignore the good things. If you believe people are out to get you, your brain will interpret neutral actions as hostile. If you believe you're not smart enough, your brain will remember every time you made a mistake and forget every time you succeeded. But it works the other way too. If you believe you're destined for greatness, your brain will start noticing opportunities everywhere. If you believe people want to help you succeed, your brain will interpret actions more positively. If you believe you have what it takes, your brain will remember your successes and learn from your failures instead of being defeated by them. So when I say believe with violence, I mean you need to be absolutely ruthless about protecting your belief. You need to guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. Your belief is the foundation everything else is built on. If your foundation is shaky, everything else will crumble. How do you believe with violence? First, you control what goes into your mind. You stop watching the news that tells you everything is hopeless. You stop hanging around people who think small and talk small and dream small. You stop reading books that reinforce your limitations. You stop listening to music that makes you feel defeated. Instead, you flood your mind with evidence that your dreams are possible. You read about people who came from worse situations than you and achieved incredible things. You study the strategies and tactics that successful people use. You surround yourself with people who think bigger than you do and challenge you to grow.
Second, you practice visualization, but not the kind they teach in those feel-good seminars. You practice what I call violent visualization. You don't just imagine achieving your dreams. You live in that future reality with every cell in your body. You see it so clearly that it becomes more real than your current circumstances. You feel the emotions you'll feel when you achieve it. You hear the sounds, smell the smells, taste the victory. And you do this every single day, multiple times a day, until that future becomes so real in your mind that not achieving it feels impossible, until going back to your old life feels like going backwards in time. Third, you speak your dreams into existence, not just positive affirmations. I'm talking about declaration. You declare your future like it's already done. You speak with the confidence of someone who knows exactly where they're going and how they're going to get there. You talk about your dreams in present tense, not future tense. You don't say, someday I'm going to be successful. You say, I am successful, and I'm getting more successful every day. You don't say, I hope I can make this work. You say, this is working, and I'm making it work faster than I ever imagined. Your words have power. They program your subconscious mind. They influence how other people see you and respond to you. They create the energy that attracts opportunities and resources to you, but only if you speak them with absolute conviction. Here's what most people don't realize about belief. It's not something you have to feel to act on. You can act your way into belief. You can behave like someone who already has what you want, and the belief will follow. Your brain can't tell the difference between something you've experienced and something you vividly imagined with full emotional engagement. So if you want to believe you're confident, start acting confident. Walk taller, speak clearer, make eye contact, take up space. If you want to believe you're successful, start making decisions the way successful people make decisions. Invest in yourself, think long term, take calculated risks. Your brain will start to think, hey, we must be confident because we're acting confident, or we must be successful because we're making successful decisions. And gradually, that becomes your new identity. That becomes who you are, not just who you're trying to be. But believing with violence isn't just about positive thinking. It's about being violently realistic about what it's going to take. It's about believing that you can handle whatever challenges come your way. It's about believing that every failure is feedback, every setback is a setup for a comeback, every obstacle is an opportunity to grow stronger.
Most people want to believe that success will be easy, that their dreams will happen without struggle, that they can get everything they want without paying the price. That's not belief. That's fantasy. Real belief acknowledges that the path to your dreams will be difficult and chooses to walk it anyway. Now let's talk about part 3 of the formula. Act with obsession. This is where most people fail. They dream with precision, they believe with violence, but when it comes time to act, they act like amateurs. They act casually. They act when they feel like it. They act when it's convenient. That's not how you get everything you dream of. To get everything you dream of, you need to act with obsession. You need to be completely consumed by your dreams, You need to eat, sleep, and breathe your vision until it becomes more important than comfort, more important than approval, more important than anything else in your life. Obsession gets a bad reputation in our society. People think it's unhealthy. They think it's unbalanced. They think you should have a balanced life. But let me tell you something about balance. Balanced people don't change the world. Balanced people don't build empires. Balanced people don't achieve extraordinary things. You know what balanced people do? They live ordinary lives. They get ordinary results. They have ordinary dreams and ordinary achievements, and at the end of their lives they have ordinary regrets about all the extraordinary things they could have done if they hadn't been so concerned with balance. Now, I'm not saying you should neglect your health or your family or your relationships. I'm saying that if you want to get everything you dream of, there are seasons of your life where you need to be completely obsessed with making it happen. There are times when you need to sacrifice balance for breakthrough. What does it mean to act with obsession? It means you organize your entire life around your dreams. You wake up thinking about them. You go to sleep planning your next moves. Every decision you make, you ask yourself, does this move me closer to my dreams or further away? You stop doing things that don't serve your vision. You stop wasting time on activities that don't contribute to your goals. You stop saying yes to things that aren't aligned with where you want to go. You become ruthlessly focused on what matters most. Acting with obsession means you outwork everyone. While they're sleeping, you're planning. While they're watching Netflix, you're studying your craft. While they're making excuses, you're making progress. While they're complaining about their circumstances, you're changing your circumstances. You show up every single day, whether you feel like it or not, whether you're motivated or not, whether circumstances are favorable or not. You show up because showing up is what separates the dreamers from the achievers. Consistency is what turns dreams into reality.
But here's the thing about acting with obsession that most people don't understand. It's not just about working hard. Anyone can work hard. It's about working smart and hard. It's about being obsessed with getting results, not just being busy. You see people all the time who are busy but not productive. They work long hours but don't accomplish much. They're always moving but never making real progress. That's not obsession. That's delusion. True obsession is laser-focused on outcomes. It's about doing whatever it takes to get the result you want, not just doing what makes you feel like you're working hard. Acting with obsession means you become a student of success. You study people who have what you want. You learn from their strategies. You model their behaviors. You adopt their mindsets. You don't try to reinvent the wheel. You find people who have already figured out how to get where you want to go, and you follow their blueprint. But you don't just copy them blindly. You adapt their strategies to your situation. You take their principles and apply them in your own unique way. You stand on their shoulders to see further than they did. Acting with obsession also means you become comfortable with discomfort. You stop avoiding difficult conversations. You stop procrastinating on important tasks. You stop letting fear make your decisions for you. You lean into whatever makes you uncomfortable because you know that's where growth happens. Most people spend their whole lives trying to stay comfortable. They avoid anything that makes them nervous or uncertain or afraid. But comfort is the enemy of dreams. Comfort is where dreams go to die. If you want to get everything you dream of, you need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You need to get comfortable with rejection, because you're going to hear no a lot before you hear yes. You need to get comfortable with failure, because you're going to fail at things before you succeed at them. You need to get comfortable with criticism, because not everyone is going to understand your vision or support your dreams. But here's what happens when you act with obsession consistently over time. You develop what I call unstoppable momentum. Every action builds on the previous action. Every small win leads to bigger wins. Every skill you develop makes you more capable of developing the next skill. Momentum is incredibly powerful because it creates a compound effect. In the beginning, your actions might not seem to make much difference. You're working hard but not seeing dramatic results yet. That's normal. That's how it works for everyone. But if you keep acting with obsession, eventually you hit a tipping point where everything starts to accelerate.
It's like pushing a car. In the beginning, it takes enormous effort just to get it moving a little bit. But once it starts rolling, it gets easier to push. And if you keep pushing, eventually it's rolling so fast that you have to run to keep up with it. That's what happens with your dreams when you act with obsession consistently over time. But most people give up before they hit that tipping point. They work hard for a few weeks or a few months, don't see the dramatic results they were hoping for, and conclude that it's not working. They stop right before the breakthrough was about to happen. Don't be most people. Understand that there's always a lag time between when you take action and when you see results. Plant trees even though you won't sit in their shade. Build foundations even though no one can see them yet. Trust the process even when you can't see the progress. Acting with obsession means you develop what I call selective hearing. You stop listening to people who tell you your dreams are unrealistic. You stop listening to people who say you should be more practical or realistic or responsible. You stop listening to people who try to talk you out of your vision because they're afraid of what your success might say about their lack of success. Instead, you listen to people who have achieved what you want to achieve. You listen to mentors and coaches and advisors who see your potential and want to help you reach it. You listen to that voice inside you that knows you're capable of more than your current circumstances suggest. You also develop selective vision. You stop seeing obstacles as permanent roadblocks and start seeing them as temporary challenges. You stop seeing problems as reasons to quit and start seeing them as puzzles to solve. You stop seeing competition as threats and start seeing them as proof that there's a market for what you want to do. Now let me tell you what happens when you combine all three parts of the formula. When you dream with precision, believe with violence, and act with obsession, something remarkable occurs. You enter what I call the inevitability zone. This is where your success stops being a possibility and starts being an inevitability. In the inevitability zone, you stop wondering if your dreams will come true and start preparing for when they come true. You stop hoping for opportunities and start creating them. You stop waiting for your big break and start making your own breaks. People start to notice something different about you. They can't quite put their finger on it, but there's something in the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you make decisions. There's a certainty about you that wasn't there before, a confidence that comes from knowing exactly where you're going and being completely committed to getting there. Opportunities start showing up in your life that weren't there before. People start wanting to help you, to be part of what you're building. Resources become available that you didn't know existed. Doors start opening that you didn't even know were doors. This isn't magic, although it might feel like it. This is what happens when you align your dreams, your beliefs, and your actions in the same direction. This is what happens when you stop being casual about your future and start being intentional about it. But here's what I need you to understand. The formula works, but it requires you to work the formula. It requires you to commit to it completely, not partially. It requires you to trust the process, even when you can't see the progress. It requires you to keep going when everyone else would quit. Most people will try this for a few days or a few weeks and then give up when they don't see immediate results. They want microwave success, but success is a slow cooker. It takes time for all the ingredients to come together and create something amazing. You're going to have days when you doubt the formula. You're going to have days when you wonder if you're crazy for believing your dreams are possible. You're going to have days when acting with obsession feels like too much work for too little reward. On those days, remember this conversation. Remember that every single person who has ever achieved anything extraordinary went through the same doubts, the same fears, the same moments of wanting to quit. The only difference between those who achieve their dreams and those who don't is that the achievers kept going anyway. They kept dreaming with precision, even when their dreams seemed impossible. They kept believing with violence, even when everything around them suggested they should give up. They kept acting with obsession, even when they couldn't see how their efforts were making a difference. And eventually, inevitably, their persistence paid off. Their dreams became their reality. Their vision became their life, and what once seemed impossible became inevitable. That's what I want for you. I want your dreams to become inevitable. I want your success to become a foregone conclusion. I want you to stop wondering if you can get everything you dream of and start planning for when you do. But it starts with a decision to stop living casually and start living intentionally, a decision to stop being a dreamer and start being an achiever, a decision to stop waiting for your life to change and start changing your life. The formula is simple. Dream with precision, Believe with violence. Act with obsession. But simple doesn't mean easy. It's going to challenge you. It's going to push you. It's going to require you to become someone you've never been before. Are you ready for that challenge? Are you ready to stop making excuses and start making progress? Are you ready to stop living someone else's life and start creating your own? Because everything you've ever dreamed of is waiting for you on the other side of your commitment to this formula. Everything you've ever wanted is possible if you're willing to pay the price to make it happen. The question isn't whether you can get everything you dream of. The question is whether you will, whether you'll commit to the formula completely and consistently until your dreams become your reality. I believe you can. I believe you will. But more importantly, you need to believe it too. You need to believe it with violence. You need to dream it with precision. And you need to act on it with obsession. Your time is now. Your moment is here. Your dreams are waiting. What are you going to do about it?